All right, hey honey buns, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here ever, welcome for the first time. I'm Meela Vanderbuilt, and today I'm really excited to bring a new series where I talk to various creators from different walks of life. So I previously sat down to talk to a lot of creators in the Second Life space, but now I'm really excited to talk to all sorts of content creators, streamers, uh, people just in gaming in general. And I'm really excited to start the series off with Mr. Midas. Mr. Midas has a really successful career in the gaming industry, which I think is just really inspiring. He has been a TV host, he's been on reality TV, he has reviewed products and worked with brands and now has his own podcast and is starting a new series coming up in the new year that we get to talk about. He's even dipping his toes in streaming. He has a partnership with TikTok. Like, there are just a lot of really cool things that Midas does in his career, and I am so excited to talk to you about it. He inspires me on the regular to not only step my content up, but to even really look at gaming as a business. And that's kind of a new concept to me. Before I got even I think before even I met him, I really hadn't thought about gaming as a business or something that I could make a career out of, because I was always kind of under the impression that unless you do it competitively, there might not be much money in it, or unless you're a huge streamer. So I think his story is really inspiring, and it is really motivational for me anyway. But we're going to talk a little bit about his history with gaming, how he got into the industry that he's in, some of the brands that he's worked with, some of his advice for not only getting into the business, but staying consistent, having a good balance, and just being successful. And we're also gonna take a peek at his office. Like, it's just check it out. I hope you enjoy. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy your time here, and give this video a like and drop a comment below. They help a ton. And let me know what you guys think of Midas's story, who you'd like me to talk to next, and what you think of this series. If you're an aspiring streamer, content creator, or just want to get into some sort of career within the gaming industry, I'd love to hear from you. But let's hop right in. So let's, I guess, start from the beginning. I know you've been gaming since you were quite young. So when did your introduction to gaming come about?
So I've kind of been gaming all of my life. I remember the first console I had was I think it was a Mega Drive or a Master System 2. Yeah, it was a Master System 2. So old that, look, it's a good thing that black don't crack here. I look great. But so old that the game was in the console. Like, literally you slooped it up and it had a game in there, and it was like Alex the Kid. And I remember playing that. But the game that really stands out for me, for a game that really changed me and was like, oh, this gaming thing's sick, is Street Fighter. So in the UK, obviously arcade culture was huge globally. But in the UK, like in our chicken and chip shops, like chicken and chips is a big thing over here. And like
Yeah.
kebab shops and chicken and chip shops and stuff like that used to have arcades in. So we'd go in there and play there. And we had a place called Trocadero. So in London, Leicester Square and West End is like our Times Square. There used to be a huge arcade place in a place called Trocadero, and it would be like 3 floors full of arcade machines. And I remember just going there and it just blowing my mind what games
Mhm.
are. So yeah, I'm old. I've been playing games for a long, long time, but yeah, it's Street Fighter is something that really stands out for me of a game
Mhm.
that I remember. And I think I remember it because one, I was okay, I could do a couple moves. And
Yeah.
two, I remember actually having to take money out of your pocket to play the game. Like, you had to put it in the arcade and play it and stuff like that. So that's something that proper stands out for me.
Sweet. And now, do you have like any family or anything into gaming? I know you mentioned Street Fighter. The only reason I knew what Street Fighter was is because I have a bunch of nephews that are like 3 years older than me, and they were obsessed. So, do you have any like relation to gaming within your family?
Yeah, so what's funny is my uncle, who hates video games, he can't
Okay.
stand them at all, but he actually works for a gaming distribution company. So he helped my parents get my first console, and I got my first console with loads of games and stuff like that. But yeah, gaming's always been part of like my friends and family. Like, everyone used to come to my house and we'd play everything. So like, take it old school, like playing Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo, or like when I had the N64, everyone would come and we'd play wrestling. Like, me and my brethren, we all would create our own characters and we'd fight for the belt. And if you lost the belt, you'd have to go home upset, and you're not allowed a rematch until the next day. And yeah, and Mario Kart, playing 4 people, or Golden Gun on on GoldenEye. So yeah, I think it's always been a huge pinnacle part of friends and family and growing up. And I remember when I was young, like my mum would send me to like my auntie's house for the whole weekend, and I'd bring my Super Nintendo with me. It's not like now I can't bring my big PlayStation to someone's house,
Right.
but yeah, I'd bring my Super Nintendo and we'd literally play all day. So yeah, it's always been a huge part of my family and friends connection.
Oh, awesome. And now, in terms of what I guess the gaming culture was like when you were growing up, were there a lot of like, because I know YouTube wasn't huge when we were growing up. I was like, I think I remember when YouTube came out, but was there a lot of just influence in terms of videos or television or anything when you were growing up?
It was absolutely trash. There was hardly anything. We had one big show in the UK called Games Master, which is like the biggest show ever. And then it was magazines. I literally
Yeah.
used to read magazines, and that's why my journey in gaming has been so specific the way it was, because when I was younger, I didn't know you could be black and do video games. Like
Hmm.
that never made a sense to me. The only people I saw in gaming were people that were Japanese or white people. That would literally be the only thing I thought gaming was.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'd have to get a normal job. Like I couldn't work in games. That wasn't a thing. Like having a career in this space, it just
Hmm.
didn't happen. It was just like you watched one or two gaming shows and you had to read a gaming magazine. Do you know how
Yeah.
stressed I was if I didn't know how to do something with a game? I had to
Right.
just learn it. There was no going on YouTube, because how do you work out this puzzle? Or how do you get the best KD? Like, no, you had to work that out
Yeah.
or wait for a magazine to tell you how to do it.
So, when you started thinking career wise, at what point did you think about getting into gaming professionally or know that that was kind of a route you wanted to take? Or did you even know?
So it was a long time within my career. So,
Mhm.
like we spoken before, like before I used to be a recording artist.
Mhm.
So my plan was never to work in gaming. It was always to be music. So being in music actually got me on a TV show in the UK. So I was on reality TV in the UK, and it was all about music and musicals and stuff like that. And that got me into the whole wanting to be a presenter, like talking to camera. I'm a chatterbox, as you know. I love to talk, can talk all day long. And that kind of got me into the whole presenting stuff. And
Mhm.
then YouTube started being bigger, and
Mhm.
sites like IGN were going from the website format to the YouTube format and stuff like that. And I was loving it. I was watching IGN all the day, every day. I was watching Gamescom. I was watching all of those sites, but still again, no one looked like me. No one sounded like me. And
Mhm.
me and all of my brethren, which is friends, UK
Yeah.
slang, me and all my brethren used to play games all of the time, and we put bare money into it. So I was
Yeah.
like, do you know what? I'm gonna make my own gaming show. Now in the UK, we got a channel which is huge over here, called GRM Daily.
Mhm.
It's basically you lot's World Star when World Star was good,
Okay. Yeah.
and it had all of the new, like all of the rap videos, all of the new stuff that you want to see, like
Mhm.
rap and hip hop and grime, and it would be on that channel. So I hit them up and I was like, let's make a gaming show. Like
Mhm.
me and a guy called Richie Driss, we came up with an idea of a gaming show. And my first introduction into gaming was getting rappers and MCs to play games. Because
Oh.
the artists from the UK, I knew they all played games. So I was like, let's get them playing all the games. And that's kind of how I got into it. And I never thought I'd have a career in this.
Mhm.
Like gaming was just a passion that I enjoyed for me. And all this time later, I got my own gaming studio and everything
Love
there.
it.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's mad.
So when you were first getting into it, did you feel any resistance or any type of just discomfort, I guess, being a Black creator in that space or in the gaming space? Or did you feel like you had to like make any, I
Well,
don't know.
well, I kind of had no choice. Like
Mhm.
um over here we got there's a road um mentality where it's and road just being like street or gangster
Mhm.
mentality. Like if they don't let you through the front door, you break the back window.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want to let me in the door, I'll bust a window in the back and
Mhm.
climb through. I'm not saying burglary. I'm not telling anyone to go and burgle anyone's house. I'm just saying it's a metaphor. So my
Yeah.
whole thing was the door wasn't open to let me through. So how do we get through? And yes, there was resistance because we wasn't what the norm was. So like when
Mhm.
we started, there was no real money in gaming. Like
Mhm.
I was on one of the biggest platforms for Black entertainment in the UK. At that time, they had like 1 million subscribers. I think they're at like 3 million now.
Mhm.
And I was paying for my own show. Me and my
Mhm.
team, we were spending our own money. We were buying our own games. We were getting our own controllers. Like we weren't getting no revenue because there wasn't this whole thing as an influencer. People
Yeah.
didn't even understand how the revenue worked. But as you know me, like I'm by any means, like I
Yeah.
will always make things happen. And I've always had that passion and that drive and that excitement. And even when I started my podcast, Too Many
Mhm.
Games, which is how we linked up,
Yep.
I filmed the first episode on my MacBook camera.
Yeah.
Like that shit looked like toast. It was trash. It looked disgusting. It was
Look good on
muddy.
this end. Yeah.
So yeah, I've always kind of been like this, like there's something there that's important for me to
Mhm.
do, and I'm gonna make it happen.
Awesome. So now I know you said like in the beginning you guys were paying everything. How did you transition from putting your money and investment into it into making an actual career that you could live off of?
So one of the things that's really good is from my background of music, I always understood branding and I understand the whole product.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we was really excited about from when we started our show GGR, which I'll send you over some clips for,
Um,
that was an IP we owned. Like
mhm.
we were very forefront of we're gonna own IP, we're gonna own shows, we're gonna have our own stuff. And all it was getting the numbers to back us up. So the first episode we had like 1,500 views. The second episode, we had 100,000 in 2 days.
Mhm.
So numbers talk. So I
Yeah.
was able to shop that package to brands and being like, look, this is sick. This is sick. You need to be involved. And it took a while for people to understand. We didn't get any money until season 3.
Mhm.
And that's when started working with Bandai Namco, and Tekken 7 was
Mhm.
our first sponsor. But what was good is that wasn't my main career path. I was still
Mhm.
trying to be a recording artist.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, I literally wasn't able to really do this as a career until probably 4 years in. Like
Okay.
4 years in, I was still earning revenue from working part time
Mhm.
and revenue from my music. It took at least 4.5 years before I was able to say, oh, I can just work in
Mhm.
gaming now. And that's when I got my job as a presenter on Jinx Esports TV, which is an international gaming station.
I think so many people that are getting into creating now, they're in that 4 year mark. They're in that like, I'm working, I'm hustling, I'm trying to make this career happen. So I guess just like thinking back, what helped you, like what helped motivate you to keep going? Did you feel any burnout? Like how were you balancing life back then?
Back then, I'm still getting burnt out today. I think one of the things that's really important is understanding passion and understanding you got bills. So at the
Mhm.
end of the day, one of the hugest changes for my career is the pandemic.
Mhm.
Like a lot of gamers started really taking gaming seriously when the pandemic happened. And I was taking gaming seriously before as a host, but
Mhm.
I was only making content for other people's platforms.
Yeah.
So I was making content for GRM's platform. I was making content for I was a host on Jinx. And when the pandemic happened and I had no platforms to be able to work with because I was stuck in my house, it made me understand, all right, I need to start doing for me. But
Mhm.
doing for me meant I wasn't making revenue. So
Yeah.
doing for me made me realize, all right, cool. I believe in the passion and my dream, but
Mhm.
right now I still got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So it's actually understanding, all right, how much time can I honestly and realistically give to doing this around my work. So it just meant maybe I don't play games as much. It meant I didn't go out with my friends as much. It might mean every weekend, every weekend, half of Saturday is going to be around making content. So it's really about fitting it in for what you really want. And even if you think about it on another way, say you wanted to be an athlete, say you wanted to be an American football player, or say you wanted to play basketball,
Mhm.
you could, if you had a job, you would have to go and practice after training. You'd go to the gym and you shoot some hoops, or over the weekend, you go and shoot some hoops. So it's just that same factor of, all right, when I have free time, I can't just do what everyone else is going to do. I can't just always go out with my friends and go out to drink. So I can't just go to the club all the time, because this dream I believe in, I need to put in it. And because this dream's not paying yet, I- the 9 to 5, which is paying, or your part-time gig, which is paying, it's about separating it. And for me, how I did it is I worked part-time and I did my career part-time.
So now, as you started to transition into, I guess, you're the professional space. Were you in the professional space? But your first gig with presenting, what type of opportunities, or do you have any kind of key moments that you can remember from those first days?
Well, the dope thing is with when I was doing Jinx, I was like in front of I mean, when I was doing GRM, I was doing, I'll just show GGR, I was in front of the camera and behind the camera. So I was writing scripts, I was contacting gaming companies, I was getting our games, I was reviewing, I was doing all of that. And then I was going in front of the camera like, what's going on, people? I'm Mr. Midas, blah, blah, blah. And then we turn it off, and then I'm moving lights, and I'm ordering the lunch, and then I'm going back on camera. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So the dope thing about Jinx is I was able to just be a presenter. So just being a presenter, one, I was just being able to present, and two, I was getting paid per session. So one, I was getting an income from that. And then two, I was able to really deep dive into how good of a presenter I can be. And one of the things that really stand out to me, Meela, is when I did Jinx TV, we used to do something called live in air. So basically, I've got a earpiece. So while I'm talking to camera, someone in the studio is talking in my ear at the same time. So I got to talk to camera like normal, and someone's talking in my ear at the same time, and I have to make it sound like it all works, and it is weird as hell. So that's one of the things that really stand out to me as like a huge skill set. One of the things I loved about Jinx was me being able to grow my skill set as a presenter.
Oh, awesome. And then how, timeline speaking, so now you spent like 4 years kind of growing things. You have this job with Jinx. How long were you there before, I guess, because it seems like you're in a million things. You do a lot of brand collaboration. So like when did all of that start to come into place as well?
So if we timeline it, how it kind of works with like monetary and how I was able to kind of get brand deals is we started with GRM. That was a show on that platform for the first 3 seasons. The first 2 seasons was all out of our own pocket. Season 3 was sponsored, but they were paying for the production of that. So I would literally get money, pay everyone, and then I would get a little bit of change that was left off. And then that happened until that show ended. And we did sponsored with Tekken, we did sponsors with Call of Duty, we did sponsors with Final Fantasy 7. But that was literally paying for production, paying for everyone, and then I'd get a little bit of money left over. Then from the back of that, I had Jinx, and then Jinx was paying me a direct payment as a presenter. And then when the pandemic happened, and then I didn't have any of that, and I was just doing for my own platforms, everything I learned between GRM and Jinx, I was just doing for myself. So all of those contacts that I hit up, I was just like, let's do this on my YouTube. No, I don't have their numbers, so I'm not expecting the same amount of money I would get from them. But I've got an audience who loves what I do and loves gaming. So it was just learning, taking those skill sets and then moving it over to my own. And then after just before the pandemic was ending, I got my first big brand deal with Cyberpower and MSI. And this allowed me to actually get my own gaming studio. So I rent an office space about 15 minutes from my house, and I do all of my content from here. So literally for the past year and a half, all of the content I've done is from my channel. So every branding deal I do is for me. Now, because I don't have mad numbers, 9 times out of 10, I don't have bare brands knocking at my door. So I'm pitching all of the time. So I'm emailing people all of the time. I'm networking all of the time. I'm putting pitch decks together all of the time. And I'm actually pitching out to brands. This is what I do. This is who I've worked with. And this is why we should work together. Now, who I've worked with is such a dope piece of information that I give to everyone. Every single time you've worked with a brand, put that brand's name next to your name.
Mhm.
I might email someone and they might not know who Mr. Midas is, but they know who MSI is, they
Yeah.
know who Cyberpower is, they know who TalkTalk is, they know who TikTok is. So TikTok is. So when I say I've worked with this person, this person, this person, they're like, oh, we don't know who you are, but we know all of them. They wanted to work with you. Why are they working with you? Let's get involved. So that's something that a piece of advice I always give. And it's active. It's not,
Mhm.
I'm not in a place in my career where I can be like, yeah, I can just chill. I'm good. If I just
Mhm.
chill, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my bills in 4 months.
Yeah.
So I'm just always active, always reaching out to brands, always networking. Like that's a huge part of why I've been able to be successful
Mhm.
in what I've done.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna ask you what advice you have for people kind of get into that, but that's solid. So let's get into the work you started doing just on YouTube and social media. So I know you started the podcast. That's where we met. What just kind of what went into that? Did you go to podcast first? Were you thinking social media like TikTok and Instagram first? Because I find your content everywhere. So where was the focus when you began, or were you like, I need to hit all of these at once?
Well, so I've always had Instagram and TikTok from my
Mhm.
music days. So
Mhm.
I always had a Mr. Midas music when I
Mhm.
was doing music, and then I just kind of transitioned them to Mr. Midas games. But they were just for, ooh, I'm at a cool event. Look at me, I look good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really thinking about brand deals. And then because I used to get sent a lot of stuff from gaming companies, I used to facilitate all of the unboxings on Jinx's
Mhm.
socials. So I used to get sent stuff and then I'd do unboxings on there. So I was like, let's just do this on my own social medias.
Yeah.
So I started hitting out the brands and I was like, oh, if you send me anything, can I just do it on mine? And they were like, yeah. And then they were like, well, we're sending it to you anyway. So yeah, just do it on yours. So that's when I was starting to do the social side. But I just kind of saw that as a side thing. I didn't really see it as content in terms of what content is, because I'm old school. When I think of content, I'm thinking of reviews, I think of
Mhm.
previews, I think of shows and stuff like that. And that's when I got frustrated because I was at home and I was like, "Bam, I need to do something, man. Like this pandemic thing, I can't leave my yard. I'm stuck in the house. Like, I need to do something." So I was like, I didn't even know I started a podcast. I was just like, let me do a piece of content. And I was like,
Yeah.
there's too much games out there. No one's got enough time to play them. The pandemic's here. Everyone's got time on their hands. So I hit up three of my friends and I was like, can I just speak to you about what you're playing now the pandemic's in?
Mhm.
And they were like, yeah. And I filmed it and I started doing it. And then people started saying, oh, I really like your podcast. Can
Yeah.
I be
Yeah.
on your podcast? And I was like, right, is this even a podcast? I didn't
Right.
even know it was a podcast. I just was talking to people because I just wanted to make content and I
Mhm.
love making content. And then that made me start really doing my YouTube. And then I was like, I love reviews. That I watch reviews all of the time. And that's why I started doing reviews and stuff like that. And then started building the YouTube channel. And then I started learning, well, you need to do this on Instagram. And I was doing it on
Mhm.
Instagram and I was doing Reels. And when Reels first came, Instagram was pushing it hard. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, let me get on this. And then weirdly enough, TikTok actually approached me. I met
Mhm.
TikTok at an event and they were like, oh my God, what you're doing on Instagram, sick. Can you come and do it on TikTok? And I was like, I thought TikTok was just for pretty girls and dancing. I didn't think, what you want me for? And they were like, no, 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 the content you're doing over there, like those kind of reviews content, we want it over here. So I was like, cool. So that's when I started doing that. So for me, now, like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter or X, whatever it's called, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, they're just platforms for you to be able to make your own content on, for
Mhm.
you to be able to express yourself. When I started, we didn't have all of those platforms. It
Mhm.
was very strict of this is all you have. Where now you lot have bare things. Like you
Yeah.
can stream, like kids, you can stream on TikTok. You don't even need to be on Twitch. You don't even need to become a Twitch affiliate. Like there's so many platforms, use them.
Mhm.
Like, don't like when I started, I was just like, just doing YouTube. And
Mhm.
that people say to me all this time, why are you not a streamer? I'm like, I'm not a streamer because I'm a presenter. Fam, I started streaming last week. I'm streaming
Yeah.
on Twitch now. Like, I'm anywhere I can get content for, have eyes on it, I'm gonna do it because not everyone's on Twitch, not everyone's on
Yep.
YouTube, not everyone's on TikTok. So anywhere I can get to people, I'm gonna get to people. Does it make more work for you? Hell yeah. As you know, it makes a lot more work for you, but just go where the people are at, man.
Yeah. So during this experience, what have you enjoyed the most about creating content for, I guess, the internet, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, all of that?
Well, I am super passionate, as you know. I love talking about games, and I just really love when someone hits me up and says, I brought this because you've said.
Mhm.
Like, that for me is mad. Like, yes, I get people watch my videos, and yeah, I get people agree with what I'm saying, but to actually take your money out of your pocket, like, money is not an easy thing to get, and actually take your money out of your pocket and buy a device or buy a game just because you believe in what I say, that for me is dope.
Yeah.
I'm old school, so I love the review process. I love editing. I'm a sick editor now. Like, I used to be so trash. My edits were straight far. They were not good at all. And like, I love the growth. Like, even today, I've got a new video coming out, and I watched somebody else's video. I watched a black girl from the UK, and her edit was sick. And I was like, nah, fam, I'm up in my edit.
Yeah.
And then I spent double the amount of time editing the video that I did, and just to be able to have my stuff look more professional now, to have a studio, to have lights in the background. And that's one of the things that I loved about you. Your visuals are clean. Yo, you look goody, girl. Like, visuals are clean, 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 clean. So just upping my visual game and stuff like that. I think that answered your question.
Yeah, it totally did. And I know, so I guess, I mean, I've learned so much from you. That's what's like crazy to me. Like, everything from your video edits. I think you've introduced me to so many people I didn't even know about before, because I'm super new to all of this. Like, I started at a year into the pandemic. So I guess who's been, I know it'd be hard to say, but is there a really memorable kind of person that you've had on your podcast, or just a person that you've met through being on YouTube that was super exciting for you?
So firstly, like, it blows my mind that you're like a year in. Like, your content
Like,
is
almost
so
3.
good. Yeah. I mean, a year into the pandemic.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I mean, a year into the pandemic. That's like, the pandemic is like a point in life for me now. I reference it like it's a new job that I got.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I need to commend you in, like, your visuals are so incredible, and what you do is so dope. And I just need to let you know.
Thank you.
And I loved having you on a podcast. Like, you're one of the favorite guests that I've had. I think for me, probably I'll give you 3 big pinnacle moments for me. So when we actually got to meet in person was me getting flown out to LA this year. That was the first time I've ever been flown out internationally. And actually, like, being able to flown out, being able to do like premium and business class on a plane, and all of that, and actually be like, okay, these brands rate the work I do so much that they're like, raw, we want to take this guy out from the UK all the way to LA. We're going to pay for everything just because we want to know what he thinks of this Star Wars game. Do you know how mad that is for me? Like, that you who used to put money into the coin machines, like that, huge deal. Got to meet you in person. You're even greater in person. So that was super dope. Second was being able to actually have a gaming studio. One of the things I used to be jealous of is seeing people's backgrounds. I used to be so jealous when they see people with the sick backgrounds and the PCs and the LEDs and the stuff like that. And I get to wake up in the morning, I work out, I leave my house, and I get to come and work in my own space. I don't have a boss who's like, what are you doing, Midas? Like, I just get to do that. So that was really pinnacle. And then I would say one of the biggest achievements for my career is when I was able to be taken out to San Francisco for another gaming preview. And Greg Miller is he's one of the biggest gaming presenters in the world. And he's someone that I kind of look up to and kind of seen my career after him. And he actually let us come and take over his whole podcast. So we was able to go to his studio, take over his podcast, and one of his members of his team, Blessing, he came on my podcast. So yeah, I've been very, very blessed, and I work very hard, and I have moments where I'm like, why am I doing this? And how am I going to pay my bills this month? But I've had so much heights, and I'm able to achieve some dope stuff.
Yeah, and I think what's really good about your, or what's fascinating, because I think for a lot of people that watch my content, probably a lot of people that are gonna watch this video, it's like being an outsider looking in. Like, I don't even think I could grasp the opportunities that you have from gaming or even content creation. It's a very new concept. So I guess, what's in your like goal, or what's the goal? Where do you hope your career goes? Do you think like you've kind of, I mean, like you're literally your career's goals for me right now. So I'm like, how big does it get for you, or where do you see it going?
So, like, if you asked me this 4 years ago, my goal would have been I want to be the biggest video game TV host ever. But now, like, for me, I want to be able to, like, my huge goal is to be able to have a career, be huge in my space, but be able to make something for the next gen. So what I really want to do is I want to be able to open a huge studio and have lots of gaming facilities, so streaming rooms, editing suites, loads of streaming booths, and new creators can come and create all of their content for free.
Oh,
So they don't need to worry about having a space. They don't need to
Mhm.
worry about having that financial backing. They don't need to worry about doing all of that. They can just come and do all of their content for free for life.
Mhm.
That's where I'd love to do. And I'd love to do that international. Like the
Mhm.
LA branch
Yeah.
you run and somebody else runs this, and literally the next gen are able to be able to create this dope content, because there's so many platforms. Like, there's kids who have become millionaires from playing games,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
people who have been able to buy their mum a house because of TikTok.
Mhm.
Like, that's mad to me. Like,
Yeah.
when I was younger, I was like, the way I grew up, you either sold drugs or you play sports. That's
Mhm.
how you become successful, not being able to play a game or make content. So that's really where I'd like to kind of elevate my career.
Right. We talked a lot about career. I'm obsessing over your space right now. So do you want to walk me through something? Like, the computer looks amazing. The chair is crazy. Like, what do we have going on back here?
All right, so this is my custom built CyberPower PC.
Mhm.
One of the things you might not see is I've got my name custom lasered in the
Yeah, I
glass,
see it. Yeah.
which is so okay. And this was built specifically for, because I edit a lot, so to
Mhm.
edit, to be able to game, and to be able to stream on. So to be able to do
Mhm.
all of those things. I recently teamed up with Nanoleaf.
Mhm.
So if you see in the
Oh,
back,
yeah,
I
yeah.
got my Sonic the Hedgehog Nanoleaf, and I
Yeah.
got my Super Lines. My chair is from Noble Chairs.
Mhm.
The theme of my studio is Black Panther, Wakanda
Yeah, yeah,
Forever.
I see
So
it.
got my Black Panther chair. I've got my Black Panther
Oh, that's
ant
sick.
holding,
Yeah.
and then the big kid in me loves figurines. So my favorite two games ever is Final Fantasy. So I've got the Final Fantasy 7 Collector's Edition. I've got loads of Zelda stuff.
Oh.
I love Star Wars,
Yeah.
so I've got lightsabers and stuff like that. But it's just all big kid stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's super cool. And then over there is the messy side.
That's exactly what I have going on over here. Yeah.
That's a messy side. That's got the
Right.
sofa and stuff like that when people want to come and chill.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's
Sweet.
about it. And then I was a partner for Elgato,
Mhm.
so I was able to get like my mics from
Yeah.
Elgato, my key lights and stuff like that. So I've got a really good setup. I've got a massive monitor. If I go
Mhm.
like that,
Oh,
that's how
wow.
big my monitor is.
Yeah.
I've got an ultra wide 38-inch curve, which makes
Sheesh.
editing so much
Yeah.
easier. I used to edit on my MacBook.
Mhm.
Like, editing on this has changed the game. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I
So
know
yeah.
you mentioned the MacBook earlier. A lot of the comments I get on like streaming videos, people are like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to start streaming when I get XYZ, a new computer, a new this." And you mentioned you dove right in with a MacBook. So I guess what advice do you have to those people who want to start, but they're seeing our types of setups and they're like, "I gotta wait until I have all of this in order.
The worst thing to do. One of the worst things that happened in the pandemic is bare people's like, oh, I want to start streaming. Went and bought PCs, bought lights, bought all of this stuff, and then was like, yeah, this isn't for me. Phones and tablets are incredible now. You can do so much. Like you could literally, I was watching someone's YouTube video yesterday and they was unveiling the new PlayStation Portal. And then I saw in the screen, they filmed it from their phone. I went in the comments. I was like, how does your visuals look like that from the phone, fam? Like what voodoo are you doing to have your settings look like that? So yeah, my advice would be don't run out and get all of that crazy. You can literally stream directly from your PlayStation. PlayStation with a camera, you can stream from there. There's people who blow up doing that. You can make YouTube videos through your phone. You can literally film yourself on your main camera. You can capture, you can record gameplay like COD, Apex, PUBG, all of them on mobile. You can record straight on there. You can edit on CapCut. CapCut is sick for editing. Like you can do everything on your phone for no cost. So don't go and run out the window and feel like you have to spend all the money. Or also don't be like, I can't start until you spend money. Because what every content creator will tell you is to start. Because at the beginning, everything's trash. Edits are trash. Content's trash. The streaming's trash. Nobody just starts good. Yeah. It's just like no one is just amazing at it. Like we all get better. So it's all about just starting and then see the improvement. And then when you can see your improvement, you can look back and be like, see, you remember when I was trash? Now I'm sick.
For sure. All right, cool. And then I guess just to kind of close things out, where can people find you? And do you have anything coming up that you want to make sure we all look to?
So you can find me. Make sure you go and subscribe to my YouTube. We're working towards 5K right now, which is youtube.com/Mr. Midas Games. I'm on Twitter or X talking about all the game stuff all the time. That's Mr. Midas Games. Instagram and TikTok. I ain't dancing on TikTok, fam, but I've got sick videos out there. Same tiktok.com/Mr. Midas Games or Instagram/Mr. Midas Games or Mr. Midas Games. I actually have a new series that I'm working on, which won't come out till next year, called Share Play. This is an exclusive. I haven't told anyone about it. Okay. So I've got a brand new series coming out called Share Play. So that's something to look out for. And I'm always dropping super sick content. So just keep up to date. And one of the things I always say as well is if you want to be a new content creator, support other content creators. You know how you support them? Like their videos, go and comment in there. Do you know how many people said, oh yeah, I watched your video, it was so sick? Fam, drop a comment so I know you watched it. I don't even know that you're there watching it. Like that's why I always try to interact with other people's content, because it is good for other people to see what you're doing and stuff like that. And thanks for having me. Like when I came across you, I just thought you was super sick and super dope and you're proper down to earth. And I'm super glad that we got to do some stuff. And we're gonna do some more. I need to get you on Share Play, get you hooked up with some more bits. So yeah.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. It's been great. I know, because this is kind of a new series for me. I'm not only trying to explore, I'm trying to figure out like how I got into streaming. I get like jaded and forget how the beginning starts, but I'm like, it'll be great talking to other people who work in this space, because there's so much that I don't know. There's so much that I get inspired by. So I really appreciate having you on here, or you popping on it. Well, it's not early for you, but taking the time out.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, super early for you. It's all right here. I'm like, it's like almost 5 o'clock.
Okay, thank you so much for watching. That was so much fun to sit down and talk to Midas. Thank you, Midas, for being on the channel. I'm really looking forward to all of your future projects and looking forward to picking your brain even more down the road. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, por favor, and subscribing to the channel if you'd like more content like this. Also, drop a comment what you thought about Midas, his story, his career. If you're an aspiring streamer or a content creator, or someone who's looking to get into the gaming industry, drop a comment, introduce yourself. I would love to hear from you and get to know you a bit more. And if there's anyone you guys want to see me talk to in the series, let me know. I'm really excited to dive into this and see where it goes. But you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh shit. A full break? We did 30 minutes today. All right, honey buns. Right, here. Huh? I'm Meela Vanderbuilt, and I'm Meela Vanderbuilt, and today. Oh, sorry, HelloFresh just charged me. I had to peep what it was. That's my comfort sit when I'm just like over here comfortable. I hope I do not look like that on stream sometimes. Just like why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? Do I just do that on camera all the time? But it's been a long day. Oh, wait, let me show you. Let's get proper lighting, please. Some more merch came in. Ignore my band-aid. But we got a little honey bun mug. Everyone has requested that I also do a Vespa mug, so gonna work on that. It literally is a little mug. And then a couple of stickers came in. These were before I started making like the other ones. So again, stop looking at my nails. I gotta stop making videos like this so I get my nails done. The notebook, whatever, let's play, which is one of my favorites.
Sitting all alone on your back, hoping for some cash, but they're burning off the flesh. Hey, still all week like in Thailand, but you get the parents so proud how you manage.